Welcome to part 2 of our financial literacy episode. Last week we had a discussion on financial literacy. I'm sorry, guys, I'm going through a rough time. I just heard a very sad news, and it's just taking the best of us. It's taking the best of me. One of my very dear friend passed away tonight. So right now I'm not even myself, but I'm pushing my way through this. Now we are going to continue. Last week we left off at discussing some investment, some good investment to invest our money into. And we talk about life insurances, we talk about stocks, we talk about even purchasing a home. We do have to value our money. Whenever we are spending or investing, we need to make sure it is working for us. Tiffany talked about the negative and the positive impact of it. And Mr. Walker talked about just learning, knowing what we're investing our money in. Following up, we have the next question is, and this is something that we all, probably most of us, have done in one point in life or the other, and that is creating unnecessary debt. So how do we avoid creating unnecessary debt?
Well, how do we avoid creating unnecessary debt is to, I would say, sit down and look at what is my income after taxes. What do I bring home? Now I see, what do I bring home? Number one, your income should be at least 3 times your rent, because that's the most expensive bill for most of us. It's going to be our either rent or mortgage. So it's best to see if you can make at least 3 times that, if not maybe 2 to 2.5 times that. Then you need to budget out your necessities, which is lights, water, internet, food. We need to put a budget on those things, making sure that we can stay within our means. We also need to budget to save. Remember, I said to pay yourself first. We need to put that in budget as well. Then when it comes on to extracurricular activities, whether it be nightlife or a weekend or going out or travel, anything that's for leisure and fun, then that comes afterwards. But first pay yourself, then pay your bills, and make sure that you're not living above your means, as in getting this pretty expensive apartment or getting this significant mortgage. Never get any debt that's going to make you live toe to toe, as in paycheck to paycheck, like you're dying for the next paycheck. Because anytime you do get paid, you should always have money left over, because so you can balance yourself and have money for emergencies. Anything that could come up last minute, we need to have funds for those. So basically, it's living below your means and never living toe to toe with your paycheck is how to avoid debt. Decrease your standard of living if you're living paycheck to paycheck. See, what can I eliminate at this time? What can I downsize at this time? For example, if you have $100 phone bill and you're in debt, then you probably could look at some prepaid alternatives and go to like a $35 plan or a $25 plan. If your energy bill is high, set your AC at a certain temperature. Consult with your light companies, see if they offer solar lighting. If your water is high, then see, where am I spending extra water at this time? If your gas for your car is high, then see, where am I traveling to? Do I need to travel here today? Do I need to go there today? Grocery, sometimes we have to eat within our means with grocery. It's not always going to be lobster and colossal shrimp and steak and potatoes. You can still eat healthy on a budget as well. So basically, budget yourself, and at the end of your budget there should always be something left over. And another thing is, do not pick up unnecessary debts. If you can purchase a car for $2,000, instead of getting a car note that you are paying interest on every single month, then go ahead and purchase a car outright until you can afford to pay a car note and have some left over.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany, for those awesome tips. Mr. Walker, how can we avoid unnecessary debt?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to look at like I applaud Tiffany for the things that she was saying. And those were excellent and valid points. But I also look at as also from a psychology standpoint because one of my degrees is in psychology, and human nature and human habit are extremely next to impossible to break. Those are things that, because basically we're creatures of habit. I mean, you it's like telling a person, okay, it's like telling a person that they need to lose weight. From the outside, you're looking at that person and you're going, "Oh, okay, you need to, you could stand to lose a couple of pounds. It's just not healthy for you and everything." Telling that person that, and then that person trying to implement it and put it into action is is very difficult for a lot of people because, and it even boils down to finances. I mean, you can tell a person all day long that, okay, if you stop hitting fast food restaurants up, I guarantee you'll save close to $100 a month. If they don't have the willpower to even stay away from those vices and everything, I mean, you telling them that and everything. I mean, they could see it in dollars and cents in black and white written down on paper. But at the end of the day, it's breaking those habits that is actually the absolute first step when it comes down to financial literacy and and avoiding unnecessary debt. I mean, because let's face it, like you were saying, like one of the points that you made was, okay, you know, go buy a cash car as opposed to, getting a car note and everything. But I look at things like that and I say, okay, if you buy the cash car, there are a lot of factors that you have to put into buying that cash car because there are a lot of unscrupulous and basically scandalous car dealerships that will sell you a lemon. And a lot of states' lemon laws do not protect the consumer as well as they should. So you might spend $2,000 initially on that car, but then once you start looking at maintenance, upkeep, and different things like that, it starts to add up to significantly more as opposed to you go and get a car note with a warranty. And what a lot of people don't understand about when they're purchasing a car is, okay, you can purchase a car. Let's say the terms of your contract are 7 years. You're paying your car note for 7 years, sometimes five, sometimes seven. You do not absolutely have to complete that 5 to 7 years. You can go in 3 years with, or wait until the warranty has completely lapsed on the car, and then you can say, okay, you know what, I want to start this process over, because it's better to be protected from the things that are unexpected. Like, for instance, blowing out a transmission on a car, and you're paying a car, blowing out a transmission on a car that you've already paid for, you're going to pay significantly more than what that car is worth, as opposed to having a car that's under warranty, and you just say, okay, hey, my transmission went out. Okay, well, it's covered under the warranty. Bring it in, we'll fix it, or we'll go ahead and get you a new one. Either way, you're covered. So you have to make, like I say, you can't just, it's not as black and white as we would like it to be. You know, there are a lot of things in this world that are not as black and white as we would like them to be. You have to make you have to make sound and rational decisions that, one, not only keep you out of debt. I mean, because I've seen people that will, like with income taxes, for instance. Income taxes is Everybody thinks that income taxes are a come up, but they don't understand the whole financial dynamics of income tax. All the government basically did was they basically held more of your money than they should have. And they basically say, okay, at the end of the year, hey, we giving it back to you. We gonna hold this money for you, but we giving back the extra that we took. That's not coming up. That's not doing anything unless you take that money and produce something with it. I'm
To take
seeing.
a pin with that, with the
But
cars and the situation, for those that, can't afford a car note, but they probably have the cash on hand, they could always purchase an extended warranty. Because I myself have bought a car that was a 2005 a couple years ago, and it has yet to give me any problems, thank God.
right,
However, there's always the option of extended warranty when you do want to buy a used car if you're afraid of the whole limit situation, which I understand.
right, and you know what? You're absolutely right. I mean, you can purchase an extended warranty and everything, and it's kind of funny that you said that, because it it kind of ties into a discussion that me and a few colleagues were having about insurance industries as a whole. And extended warranties is, in essence, an insurance policy of
Mhm.
what if. And it's amazing that that the insurance industry gets paid billions of dollars for what if. But if nothing happens, you don't get any of that money back. That money is gone.
Right.
Right.
And and like I told a friend of mine, I feel like at some point the insurance company should say, okay, you know what? You haven't had any accidents for 5 years. You haven't had any tickets for 5 years. You haven't had any kind of discrepancies for 5 years. So we're going to give you half of the money that you've paid us over those 5 years. We're going to give that money back to you.
That would be great,
Well,
but
because I mean, you think about it, it would incentivize
right,
people to, one, take better care of their, and this just would not work for just cars. It would work for every aspect of insurance, even health. Because I mean, you think about it. If a person doesn't go to the hospital, the insurance company, where's that money going? I mean, a person doesn't go to the hospital, the insurance company has no purpose.
right. But and let me ask this question because we are talking about financial literacy. We are talking about, managing our finances and
Right.
saving for the next generation. What are some saving tips? Like one saving tip that I use at all times is 70 is the 10, 20, 70%. And I know everybody's not going to use that because some people don't do the 10% anyways. And what that is for me is I pay my tithes, I'm a tithe payer. So I pay my tithes of 10%, I save 20%, and I live within the means of 70%. What are some saving tips that either of you can give?
So me personally, I know majority cannot do this, but Beck can testify. I would probably save each pay period about 80% of my paycheck
Mhm.
every 2 weeks. I would save about 80% and live off of my 20%. And it's doable, people, because I still lived a great life and I live in the city, so it's really not cheap. And I managed that. So what did I do? I lived below my means at times. I thought, did I really need this? Do I have to have it? What is my end goal? Another saving tip for those that can't do the 80/20 is to start off in little increments. Get yourself acclimated, put your foot in the waters first. This week you can start saving $5. Next week you can do $10. The next week you can do 15, and put it in increments of 5, 10, 15, 20, or 20, 40, 60, 80. It's just based on you, what you feel comfortable doing, and what you can also afford to do. So you might not be able to do the 70/30 or the 80/20 or the 50/50 or the 60/40, but all that matters is that you start somewhere. Once you start somewhere, get in the habit, because we're all, like you said, we're all habit persons. Um, Once you get in that habit, then you raise the standard a little bit and you start to understand it. And where a lot of people are visual and we like to feel good. So once you look at your bank account and you see, oh man, over the past 3 months, I've saved $600. What can I save in the next 3 months? What can I save in the next 6 months? And you just get happy about that inner feeling, especially when you have a goal to work towards. Set a goal. So therefore you're not just doing it in broad daylight, but I'm actually working towards this, and go from there.
Well, I do mine a little bit different. What I do is whenever I pay a bill, I add 10% to that bill. And I take that 10% and immediately push it off into my savings account. Because you're gonna pay those bills regardless. At the end of the day, you're gonna pay those bills. So you might as well, like, if my bill is $150, then I'm taking $15 and I'm throwing it into my savings. It's just like I done paid the bill regardless. The bill's paid, that's $15 is off into my savings. Now, the way I have my savings set up, I can only, most people have their savings set up to where if their checking account is overdrawn, it'll automatically withdraw from my savings. That is a trap. That is basically a trap for your bank to basically hit you when you least expect it. I can only withdraw from my savings account one time transfer a month via my app, and 2 times in person if I go to the bank. And I personally set that up with my bank so that that's that's where it goes and everything. And when in my savings account, I have everything set up in there to where I know what each portion of my savings account is going to long term. Because a lot of people don't have long term goals. A lot of people only think, week to week, paycheck to paycheck. It's like, okay, I know I got this month to pay and stuff like that. I know people right now that are still paying bills that basically, in a nutshell, they should have been paid off months ago. But like I said, it goes back to you are so used to paying monthly bills and everything to where you don't pay attention and everything. And guess what? Most of these companies, they don't care. They will sit there and they will continue to collect that money and everything. I mean, I had a friend of mine had owned a furniture store. He paid the furniture store. He overpaid the furniture store by almost $3,000. And I'm looking at him. I'm going, "How long you been paying on this furniture?" And he's like, "I never thought about it." He said, he said, "I just let them deduct it out my account every month and keep it moving." And so we went through his receipts and he took them over to the furniture company and they had no choice. They had to cut him a check.
Awesome. And another thing we want to talk about is, let's talk about college, because that's having to do with also financial literacy. Let's talk about college and how do we prepare our kids for college? Because that's another thing. We are not financially preparing our children for college. So when they do get into college at a AA level, we have some who are already depending on student loan, and that's already creating a debt. And the minute they graduate and get a job, or sometimes graduated, but of course still haven't had a job yet,
Well,
student loan payment plan is kicking in. Speak
well,
on that.
go ahead, Tiffany.
Okay, so as a parent, kids cannot work for themselves up until going into college. Most times they can probably start a little part-time job at 16, but it's not ideal. So the parents can get a college saving plan for their kids. So therefore, by the time they enter into college, then that is readily available and there for them. Um, if a parent hasn't beat to that stage yet, then what kids are encouraged to do for those that have the capacity to do so is the next alternative is good grades. When you get good grades, you get scholarships. Then, based on your parents' income, that child can get grants too. However, we have to keep in mind that whether you go to Duke University or Harvard or South Florida, that degree is going to be the same degree anywhere you go. So if you can only afford to stay in your local community and do your AA degree, or even if they offer a bachelor's degree at home, if your finances don't allow for you to go off, then do yourself the favor. Stay home and go to college. Stay home and get your AA. Stay home and get your bachelor's if finances are the issue, because it doesn't make any sense to move away to get into debt when something is offered at your doorstep.
Well, I I guess I look at it like this. First of all, college is college is not for everybody. And I will be the first person to tell some people that, because let's face it, if you're not going to put effort into being there, then why should you be there in the first place? And I know a lot of people that have benefited from not going to college, and they benefit extremely more. Let's face it, our educational system in this country is a walking punchline. It's a joke. It's a walking punchline and a joke. The reason why I say that is because we're churning out, they're churning out degrees that basically, in a nutshell, have no financial purpose when it comes down to it. These kids are graduating with no job prospects, with no possibilities, but a ton of debt because they've basically exhausted student loans in a 4-year time period. And you're supposed to, technically, when the student loan system was originally created, the student loan system was supposed to be, you're supposed to be able to get student loans all the way up to a PhD. That was the original guarantee of the student loan program. However, colleges started raising their tuitions, and the student loan program didn't get any more money to be able to compensate for that. So that's why you have so many college students that get stuck with student loans on a bachelor's level or even lower, because like I said, the system itself is broken. I mean, once upon a time, if you failed the class and everything, you were given an opportunity to retake that class at either 25% or free, depending on how much you failed it by. Now, if you failed it by, like, say, if you needed a D, and you were 1 point, you were a couple of points away from it, they were like, okay, hey, we're going to give you the opportunity to retake this over for free, and you're not going to have to apply for more student loan money. somehow or another that got thrown completely out of the system. So now colleges charge you every time you have to retake a class over, which creates more debt. The counselors aren't doing their job because they aren't advising kids. They're not advising students, hey, you know, these are the careers that you might want to look into and everything. Because I mean, let's face it, if as a college student, when you go into college, 9 times out of 10 you do not know what you want to do when you go to college. Most people don't have any idea of their major until usually their second or third year. I mean,
Right. And that's absolutely true. And that's where it goes back to, and this will be another topic. It goes back to being prepared in high school to transition into colleges. That is when they do this career testing, but that would be another topic. And I appreciate you bringing that up. Now, before we end this session, we're talking about how to save with the beginning. For those of us who actually haven't yet started a saving plan or think it's impossible, because sometimes it do look impossible. And Tiffany mentioned sometimes you have to evaluate and see where you can cut back. And as a self-disclosure, and I don't remember if she remembered this, but at one point, I was years ago, I said to myself, no, I need to cut back. But everything I look at was a necessity at the time. And I kept saying, there is nothing that I could actually cut back on but possible TV entertainment. And then I have little kids who want to watch TV at the time. So do I punish them for, take that little bit of entertainment from them and cut back? Or what do I do? But for those of us who we're having a hard time starting a saving plan, I have one simple saving plan and it works. And we're coming up to the beginning of a new year. So this would be something for you to consider is every week you save 1 week, you save $1. So the first week of January, you will actually save $1. The second week, you will save $2. The third week, you will save $3, and it continues. And by the end of the year, if we are consistent with it, by the end of the year, you would have saved $1,378. And $1,378 may not seem like a lot, but is a starting point.
okay.
Right. And each time you get a raise on your job, you increase, you give your own self a raise. That really do help. For those of us who probably do deferred comp, I'm one of the persons who does deferred comp. And each time I get a raise, I increase my deferred comp. Because I just tell myself, if I was living off $25 per week and now I'm earning 30, I can still continue to live off that 25 a week and save that extra 5, especially when you have a generation that you are responsible for coming up behind you.
Well, and with that, sometimes you have to learn. Sometimes you have to learn how to humble yourself. It starts with you. You have to humble yourself. Sometimes you don't know. You can try, different things, but sometimes it's okay to ask for help. And we need to remember that. I mean, we need to remember that, hey, I can't do this. Like you said, everything that you looked at was a necessity in your eyes. So sometimes, asking somebody for a little financial look see or a little financial advice is okay, because they're going to see things from a perspective that is totally where there's no emotional attachment involved. Like you said, okay, your kids needed, you didn't want to cut out entertainment TV because your kids needed entertainment. But they might walk in and say, okay, Diane, instead of paying $89 a month for for cable, why not just invest $25 into a Fire Stick and reduce your cable imprint, cut your cable out, because most of the time, most of the things that your kids are watching are 9 times out of 10 online streaming. So you can reduce that, get your high speed internet, which means you only have that one bill. Your Fire Stick is paid for. That's just a $25 investment that's paid for.
She only lasted a week. She had it.
Oh, trust me, trust
It
me.
was the kids wasn't the problem. It was her.
I know, I know. Look. Trust me. You ain't got to tell me about your mom. Me and your mom have been conversating for quite some time. Look, your mom always tells me. Your mom always tells me that every time we talk, and I've been trying my best, and she can admit I've been trying my best. I will not analyze her because it drives her when I do. Because one time I analyzed her, and she ain't gonna admit it because she probably gonna sit up there and just start looking away in a second.
I'm transparent. I'm telling you.
One
I'm
time I
transparent.
analyzed her and she started crying
Uh-huh.
because I was hitting too many nerves.
Uh-huh.
And I tell people this all the time. When people care about you, when people truly care about you, they can see your truth. And like I tell people, that's the reason why, like, for instance, my show is called The Ugly Truth Revealed, is because the truth is not always happy go lucky and sparkly and filled with rainbows and lollipops and unicorns and all that other stuff. Sometimes the truth is is harsh, it's brutal, but you have to accept it in order to grow from it.
Right, absolutely. Truth shall set you free.
But
And
see, a lot of people don't understand that. They feel like oh, okay, don't tell me these things. And like when look, I wanted to see how long she was gonna say, because she could say the kids all day long, but
that was before the Fire Stick. But I'm always, trying to be transparent and
no.
use self-disclosure. And as we sit here, we have 5 minutes left. And honestly, even now, I am not that I'm not aware of financial literacy and money management, because I've been learning a lot from Tiffany, honestly. But even now, sitting here doing this video, trying to help others, I'm trying to help myself as well, because I'm struggling. I'm still struggling with making, what would I say, making better financial choices.
Yeah.
And I have Tiffany to say, she calls me Bet, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. This is what you need to do with your finances. Or, because, and I would say to her, I'm saving whatever I'm saving already. I make sure that's there. And let me share something. So recently, and I have 3 minutes now, I recently relocated. And I was telling her, I'm provided with a place to stay. And it's just that I don't like the area. Now, if I stay where I'm provided to stay, okay, yes. But if
paying rent? Are you paying rent?
But if I go in town, then I'm going to have to pay rent. And in where I am at the moment, rent is everything but inexpensive. So even now talking, I am struggling with making wise financial decision. And in my mind, I'm saying, I might as well pay to be comfortable. I mean, I'm not saying, and I know, not saying it's not comfortable here. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying in terms of where I would like to be in terms of the lifestyle.
And I
That
reminded her that's not what she's obtaining right now. What she's obtaining is finances that she didn't have before. So you have to go
that's my
there.
daughter. I'm officially adopting her. That's my daughter. That's my daughter. That ain't your daughter no more. That's my daughter. She don't belong to you no more. That's mine. That is my child. But and she's telling you absolutely right.
Right.
You how old are you? How old are you?
27.
No, no, not my child. My
Oh, yesterday, was it yesterday?
how old did you make?
Sunday was my birthday.
How
I'm
old
not sure
did you
what today
make?
is. 45 years old.
Okay, you made 45 years old. You are still in the prime of your life. You are still doing things. You are still learning. Your 27-year-old is still teaching you things, which means that you're open to learning things. Stop, stop knocking your blessings onto the side of the road because you want to sit up here and quote unquote live a certain,
Lavish.
because guess what? You're living where you are for a reason.
Right.
Every like I told you in the conversation earlier, you talking about it's cold there. You're not gonna last 24 months there, and you supposed to be there how long?
Long.
Indefinite.
Okay, so therefore, if she, and Tiffany, I'm gonna get your contact information. If she try to so much as leave that state or move from the area where she at and everything, me and you both hopping on a plane, we dragging her back, kicking and screaming, and she gonna stay put because you don't use that. You're not there to stay. You're not there to set roots and everything. You're there for your purpose. Do your purpose. Do your job. You're a Florida woman. You are not meant to be in the snow. You
Right.
play in
And
the snow.
again, I didn't mean to cut you off. This has been an excellent conversation, and I do appreciate both of you taking your time to share with Moving Forward Talk with Diana.
Yeah,
And
we expect great things from this show. I
right,
expect Miss Tiffany next year. I expect to see her name on a big business card
Billboard.
and a
Yes.
billboard. And if
In
I
your
don't
local
see,
stores.
okay, so there you go. So if I don't see it, I'm holding you accountable too, miss. Don't think you getting off the hook.
and remember all who haven't yet started a saving plan or any kind of financial management, it starts with you. And it's okay to get some assistance. So
Reach out.
until next week, this has been Moving Forward Talk with Diana. And thank you again for all your support. And we'll see you next week.
Later, ladies.
Later.
Later.
Thank you.